So let's talk a little bit about the difference between hoping and wishing and reality when we've had a lot of trauma in our families and there's a history that goes back. And we deal with this in our own families, and I know our clients deal with this. So, if you have a family relationship that has not gone well and you've got an event coming up next month, how do we look at that with our hopes, with our dreams? Um, how do we help our clients with that to keep them based in reality? Anybody have a thought?
I think going into it, you need to have a realistic view of what it's been in the past. And past behavior in my experience is a great predictor of future behavior. And so if it hasn't gone well in the past, even in the past year or few months, you can pretty much predict it's going to feel the same way, and you might be received the same way. And so just having some protective boundaries up for yourself, I think is healthy.
Yeah. Why is it that we do that? Because we all do it. Why do we go in, well, maybe this time?
Right, right. I think we're all so longing for those relationships because we see the people around us having relationships with sisters or with parents that are like, they look ideal, right? And so why can't that be for us? And so I think that we always have this hope and this wish that, well, maybe I can somehow turn it into that, but sometimes I think we just have to set those expectations down and start looking around at other relationships that do fill those gaps for us, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, I think, because we do have this, our heart longs for it because we were created for these relationships, and whatever family we were born or adopted into, that's the family. And so you long for that. And we just have such, I think there's a little bit of Pollyanna in us, maybe not everybody, but in some people, that maybe over time they'll see. Maybe they're working on themselves. Maybe they're doing some work. I've been doing some work and I'm learning what's more healthy, and maybe they are too. And maybe they are, but what would it look like? Let's talk about that. What would it look like if they actually had been doing that kind of work?
I mean, I think it would look like, a healthier relationship. It would look like, integrity. It would look like honesty. It would look like humility. It would look like apologizing for specific things, not having to, rake up all the muck, but it's like, honestly, just coming forth and saying, you know what, I've hurt you, and I'm so sorry, and can we start over?
Yeah.
Just humility. I think there could be so much to be said just with humility, and just sort of like throwing off the scales and saying, look, I know I did something wrong, and I'm just here to apologize for it.
Yeah. And for those of us who have struggled with trauma, why is that so difficult? What is it that's so terrifying about humility? We feel like it's going to crush us. It feels like if I open myself up again, I mean, I didn't do anything to deserve what happened before, and it was such a vulnerable, intimate thing, that about stripped me bare. So now I'm supposed to be doing that voluntarily on my own, waiting for what may come. And so that can be really terrifying.
Yeah, that's what's stored in your nervous system. When we talk about the body keeping the score, that's what it is. It's the body remembering, the nervous system remembering that past that is predictive of the future. And that God gave us that system that keeps us safe, even as infants. That's how we survive. And so it does its job really well. So it is a lot about getting in our thinking brain and being in control and over our reactive body brain that's saying, red flag, red flag, red flag, and saying, okay, no, I feel led to do this, to receive this person's call, or to make the call myself. And this is today and this is not then, and having some control over that. Which is hard because trauma is reactive. It's automatic. And so we really do have to practice breathing techniques and presence techniques to be able to, first of all, just manage that feeling in our own bodies. Because it is going to come up again, because those relationships are lifelong, especially if we're talking about family of origin stuff. So we all show up the way we've always shown up until we purposefully show up differently. And that takes a lot of work.
Well, and I remember the first time I heard about something like that, it's kind of like a family, if you can picture like a baby's mobile hanging over their crib, and each person is one of those characters on the mobile. So everybody, and we all stay in pretty much a homeostasis. We learn how to kind of make that thing balance. And so, Amy, like you said, if one of us decides, hey, I think I'm going to move over here, the whole thing starts going like this, and everybody tries to push you back into that spot. Get in your spot and stay there because you're making us all uncomfortable. And so as you're growing and healing and changing, you have to realize that when I move, I might want to do it slowly, and it's going to cause some bounce, but it'll stabilize again, and then do a little more, and it's going to cause some bounce, but it'll stabilize again. And don't go straight back to that spot that you've always been in. But I think that's so good, you guys. This is just an interesting conversation. I thought, let's just record it real quick. Other people might be interested as well. Does anybody have anything else they want to say real quick?
Well, I just like to add that, like we have to go into it knowing that people disappoint us, right? And we disappoint people. So we're all imperfect. And I think just looking at that quality in ourselves, as well as the imperfect that we see in other people, and just realizing that even though we have those ideals about those relationships, people are going to disappoint us.
Yeah.
It's inevitable.
And I think the last thing I wanted to say too was, we talked about this a little bit before we recorded, but the idea of us needing to be humble and how terrifying that can be. And just a reminder that God sees, he knows all of the trauma that we've been through. He knows what our triggers are, and he's so kind, and he's so patient, and he's so gentle. And so if we're needing to be humbled in an area, even when we're afraid to ask, like, God, search my heart, let me know, is there anything that's in me that's not of you? And I remember just not wanting to do that for a long time because I was so afraid of being hurt again. And so I'd kind of put this wall up, like, la, 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 la. I just don't want to know. I'm not in a place where I can change it. I don't have the strength to do it right now. But then I'd get to a place where I'm thinking, okay, I really do want to be cleansed. I want to be in God's will, and I'm scared. So I'd kind of pray like a little kid, kind of, God, change me, but I'm really scared. Like, would you do this in a very gentle way? And I would just sense him doing it in such a gentle way. He was so kind about it. And now I'm not quite as afraid, and I still don't like it. It's not fun, but I want to be who he wants me to be, and I want to be cleansed from all of this stuff. I don't want to live in the trauma. I don't want to live in the crazy anymore. I want to be free. I want to be healed, and I want to be whole and healthy to be able to help other people. So I have to do it. So, and the more you do it, the less uncomfortable it feels. It's just a more normal, like, okay, I'm going to sit here for a minute. God, point out whatever you're seeing in me, and then just listen to it and confess it and repent from it and turn around, and then he just embraces you and it's all okay again.
And isn't that just a reflection of our God attachment, that we are afraid, we don't really truly know him. And that's what I love about our Bible study. It's a chance to really get to know him intimately through each of his names and who he is for us in the wilderness, who he can be, wants to be, will be, if we surrender to this healing journey with him. Yeah, it's a
So for
process.
those of you who are watching, we've got Bible studies, we've got groups for moms who have kids that are either in treatment or in new homes. And we do individual coaching, we do couples work, we work with siblings. So if you're finding that any of this that we're talking about, you'd like to hear more, or you'd like some one-on-one or some group coaching or whatever, reach out, carrieotoole.com, and we'd love to put you in touch with one of our amazing coaches. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.